just here? The Mets last night were rain warriors as they survived a more than 3-hour rain delay to thump the Chicago Cubs. Today they try to be masters of little sleep as they try to dispatch the Cubs again in the finale of a 4-game series. I'm afraid that's the only Hernandez in the ballpark today. At Shea Stadium in New York, the New York Mets play the Chicago Cubs. This Mets game on SNY is presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling. Keith's off today. Mets finish off their series with the Cubs. They played late last night till 12:53 in the morning, and you might have gone to bed last night with concern about Jose Reyes' health. As it turns out, no concern necessary.
Yeah, I saw him earlier this morning bouncing around in the bowels of the stadium after taking a little hitting in the cage. But in his first swing, his last at bat, seemed like he tweaked that hamstring a little bit, tried to pat it, work on it, stretch it out, still able to get a hit, but you can see him breaking it on down on first base, and then he proceeded to leave the ball game with trainer Mike Herbst.
And you might have seen Michael Herbst was walking up the dugout steps as Reyes was running to first base, but as it turns out, not a big deal. Reyes is out of the lineup today, as are most of the Met regulars. Last night, the Mets won late as Jorge Sosa pitched another gem.
Boy, this is probably his best game, Gary, of all three. Just a one-hitter over 7 innings, and he did it how he's been doing it all time. Changing speeds, throwing sliders in the outside part. He gets ahead, he bottoms out that sliders to get strikeouts, and he's just one of the great young things that have happened to the Mets this season. Their young pitchers have just been outstanding. Look at the records for the young pitchers. 12-4 from the young guys, and they're looking to catch more lightning in a bottle today with Jason Vargas.
Mets had concerns about their rotation going into this spring training, but certainly those have proven to be unfounded. And now Jason Vargas, whom they acquired from Florida in the offseason, gets his first start today.
Well, Jason Vargas, who they received for Matt Lindstrom and Henry Owens in that big trade, is one of those guys that changes speeds. He's got a good slider, but really the thing I like about him, he's very competitive. He'll go right after you. Also a good athlete, good fielder, and good hitter.
Hitting over 300 for his big league career. So it's Jason Vargas making his Mets debut. Right-hander Angel Guzman pitches for the Cubs. Mets and Cubs, finale of 4. All the action on SNY. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Barbados, proud sponsors of the New York Mets. Experience authentic Caribbean. By Hummer. Visit Hummer.com to check out the H3 Hummer like nothing else. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit Geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Amstel Light, the beer drinkers light beer. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Now today's pitchers, a bit of the unknown. Angel Guzman going for the Cubs, looking for his first big league win. Jason Vargas, freshly shorn. After all, he's a Met now, making his Mets debut. This year, when you can't be home to watch your Mets on SNY or CW11, check out MLB.tv. You can log on to the internet to watch every out-of-market Mets game of the season live, catch those you missed on demand, or listen to every radio broadcast live. Sign up today for MLB.tv, an unparalleled live baseball experience. For more details, visit Mets.com, where baseball is always on. Our Jeep around the majors, Cole Hamels, perfect for 6 innings last night in the Phillies' victory over the Brewers. Sammy Sosa edges closer to 600 home runs. And the Padres win on a walk-off walk in the bottom of the ninth with the starter, Bronson Arroyo, throwing his 129th pitch to walk Kevin Guzman off to force in the winner. Well, last night, the Mets outlasted the rain and the Cubs. Jorge Sosa was brilliant, got some defensive help. Damian Easley, another big home run. And the Mets with an 8-1 win. They'll try and make it 3 out of 4 against the Cubs. All the action coming up. Big crowd gathered here at Shea. It's Weather Appreciation Day, and lots of kids are in the upper deck. As you look at the Ford starting lineup for the Cubs today, Alfonso Soriano has been held in check in this series. Aramis Ramirez has had the biggest hit of the series for the Cubs. That was a grand slam on Tuesday night. That helped the Cubs to a 10-1 win, but the Mets have taken 2 out of 3. Mark DeRosa back in the lineup for the Cubs, a late addition coming back from the finger injury that he suffered on Monday night.
Well, you talked about Jason Vargas, the unknown. His mom wouldn't even know him now with that hair that's been cut off by the Met players. But you see his numbers in New Orleans, not that impressive. But I will say that Willie Randolph was very impressed with him in spring training. Didn't pitch well enough to make the team, but he did open Willie's eyes.
Ryan Theriot 2 for 12 in this series, and he's taken over, at least for now, as the Cubs leadoff hitter. Batting at .302 on the season. And Vargas's first pitch as a Met is a call strike. So 12 hours and 17 minutes after we finished last night. We're underway this afternoon. And the changeup rolled over to short. And Ruben Gotay playing his first big league start at short. Throws out Theriot, one away.
All right, folks at home, the Lexus defense, pay attention. It's Gomez in left field. That's his 3rd career start. Newhan at second base. That's his 29th career start at second base. Franco at third base. His 6th career start at third base. Gotay at shortstop. This is his first career start, although he did play shortstop at the end of the game last night.
A little different. Angel Pagan tries to bunt, and Castro gets back to make the grab. His biggest obstacle was Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire. 2 out.
Well, good pitch here from Vargas down and away. Pagan pops it up, and a little dance step with the umpire before Castro makes the out. Nice reaction by Ramon Castro.
So on 3 pitches, Jason Vargas has 2 outs. I thought Leduc would be napping. I thought he'd be stretched out on the trainer's table right about now as Alfonso Soriano takes a strike. Saw Paul when he came in, and he just looked beleaguered.
Lost in his own clubhouse.
After catching till 1 in the morning last night. What Soriano got written on his... What is this? This Reggie Bush with the 619? Can't see it. Soriano fouls it off. You got a read on that?
I can't.
He's moving too much. Tell him to stand still. I hope it's not advertising.
Yeah.
That would be disappointing. I would hope it was a personal message.
Well, he watched the Republican debates. That's a candidate he's interested in.
And Soriano takes the changeup low and away. My eyes are not good enough. Little tapper that came off Soriano, a foul ball. Soriano just 1 for 12 in this series. In fact, he had reached base in every game he had played this season, all 31 of them, until last night, when the Cubs managed just 2 hits against Jorge Sosa and company. Aramis Ramirez on deck. It's slowly. Gotay bobbles and still makes the play to end the inning. So Jason Vargas, a very successful first inning as a Met. It took him just 7 pitches, and a nice recovery by Gotay. Plucked it and made the play. Well, here's your Geico lineup for the Mets. It's the first game Reyes hasn't started. The first game Wright hasn't started. The second game Beltran hasn't started, and thus you get a Port St. Lucie style lineup. Andy Chavez in the leadoff spot against the Cubs right-hander Angel Guzman. And Andy takes ball 1.
Guzman has good stuff. They thought he would be up with the Cubs earlier, but he had a torn labrum in 03, shoulder problems in 04, forearm problems in 05. Started the season with the Cubbies as a reliever, was sent down, and now a starter.
Took over when Wade Miller got hurt. Miller's recovering from a back injury. Chavez making his 10th start of the year, and you see that he has been very productive in his 47 at bats. 2 for 7 in this series. And he fouls it off. Moises Alou now on the 15-day disabled list, backdated to Saturday, so he'll miss another week and a half anyway, and that'll create more opportunities for Chavez and for Carlos Gomez. As you look at Ruben Gotay hitting second today on deck. And he hits the breaking ball right back through the originator. And a leadoff hit for Andy Chavez.
Well, every day, Andy Chavez always seems to do something to help your team here leading off. Just goes back up the middle with that curveball. Clean single up the middle for Chavez.
All about defensive positioning for the pitcher, isn't it?
Well, he's got that big motion that takes him to the first base side.
So here's Ruben Gotay. This is the 5th game he started for the Mets. His first at shortstop. In fact, his first start in the big leagues at shortstop. And a very soft toss to first base.
Be interesting if the Mets to see what kind of baseball they play today. If with this kind of makeshift lineup, maybe early in the game against a young pitcher like Guzman, maybe laying down a bunt, getting Chavez over to second, trying to manufacture a run early.
Maybe even playing hit and run.
Yeah.
Something that Willie doesn't do a lot of. Gotay played a little bit of shortstop in Norfolk last year after the Mets picked him up from Kansas City. But he has been primarily a second baseman throughout his career. Gotay grounds a double play ball right at his tourist to Terrio and on to first. 6-4-3 double play, 2 out.
Well, nice form as Torres. One of the best you'll ever see. Looks that right into the glove, and you want to walk that ball over to the second baseman underhanded, make it a real easy toss for him to be able to turn it quickly. Here's Rico's starting defense for the Cubbies. Soriano's kind of flip a coin out there in left field. Pagan getting the start in center field. Plays very, very shallow. Merton, who's had to move from left to right in right field. And Henry Blanco you're going to have to deal with because he has that great arm behind the dish.
Chance for Sean Green to hit third today. One of only 2 regulars in the lineup.
If you're a shortstop, as soon as you receive that ball, you take it out of your glove, you show it to the second baseman. You don't want to keep it in your glove because sometimes it looks like a changeup coming out. Take it out of your glove, show it to him so you can see that easy toss coming your way.
2-1 to Green. Sean has had a very good series with the bat. Had a double and a home run Tuesday night. Hit a couple of balls very hard last night. 10th in the National League in batting right now at .322. Guzman and Blanco having some trouble getting together. In the air to left. Soriano circling in, and it drops in front of him. I'll tell you what, his roots to balls are horrible. That's a ball that should have been caught, and Soriano took the great circle route and let it drop.
Sean Green, thank you very much. He just, you know, it's not his position, and but that's he's a good athlete. And you would think that with hard work, he could get to be a decent outfielder. Sean Green, who there's not much you can say about his game this year other than just excellence.
So a 2-out hit for Green and a chance for Carlos Delgado to cash it. Carlos 3 for 9 in this series as he tries to get his offense revved up. Was on base a couple of times last night with a single and a walk. Well, Delgado, the numbers are not what they should be.
That might be part of it. The left-handers are always pitching him away, doing a lot of fighting off pitches to left field, which is against the way the defense is usually.
Most of those hits against lefties have been singles. Good slider by Guzman, and it's 1-1. Well, Jose Reyes will drive everybody crazy in that dugout.
And Wright's in there too.
That's not a good situation for guys who are trying to catch a nap today. I guess that hamstring's feeling okay. And there's one of last night's heroes, Jorge Sosa. Boy, what a revelation he's been. In the air to shallow left. The third baseman Ramirez, the only guy who can catch it, and he does. So Guzman negotiates the first inning, gives up a couple of hits. On to the second, it's Shea with no score.
Hey, I'm at the game today.
That is, I don't get it.
Aramis Ramirez leading off the second. It's everywhere you go in 2007.
Especially when the people are sitting right behind the plate because they know they're going to be on camera. The camera that shoots.
Do you see me?
Batter.
Do you see me? Ramirez hitting at 257, and he takes the changeup from Vargas, 1-1.
Yeah, I see. It would have been nice if you'd offered me a ticket.
2-1 to Ramirez, who hit one of the longer home runs we've seen on Tuesday night. Grand slam well up into the mezzanine in left field. Didn't miss by much getting into that upper deck. In the air to left, and Gomez is there. One away. Weekday mornings before you head out the door, check out the CW11's Commuter Cast. From traffic tie-ups to train delays, get up-to-the-minute time-saving traffic reports with Commuter Cast all morning long on the CW11 Morning News. Matt Merton playing for the first time since the opening game of the series Monday night when he went 0 for 3. Lou Piniella has been juggling a whole host of outfielders, and Vargas throws a fastball by him.
Yeah, they expect a lot of things from Merton. You see David Wright.
A little smoothie?
Where I'm from, it's called a fribble.
Popped up. Newhand back. Green in, and Green calling. 2 out. Nice to see Sean being aggressive in calling Newhand off.
Well, you see Sean not even in the picture in right field. That shows you how far he came. And the key to this is that the right fielder has to sprint in and yelling the entire time. I've got it. I've got it. That allows the second baseman to get out of the way. Much easier play for the right fielder.
Remember on Monday night we had a situation with Easley playing second base where Green was not as aggressive. Mark DeRosa takes ball 1.
And I think part of that is that Jose Valentin, who's hurt, is great on going back on pop-ups, and sometimes you can get spoiled by how much room he can cover.
DeRosa pops it up. Shallow center. Chavez with a long run in, but he gets there, and Jason Vargas with 3 fly balls has an easy second inning. So first 2 innings like a piece of cake for Vargas. Still no score. Professor Reyes doing a little shortstop teaching to today's shortstop. Here's the Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets home games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable. Do you see in HD? Mets Yankees tomorrow night. Oliver Perez and Andy Pettit, a couple of noted lefties, go in the opener tomorrow night. Julio Franco hitting 5th in the order, takes a strike from Angel Guzman. And remember, if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Franco with just 21 at-bats this year. This is only the 4th game he started. And playing third base today. Franco started a game at third base in his rookie year, 1982. Didn't start another game at third base until last year, 24 years later. And he was out there early today, getting a feel for it.
And really started those games last year, one, to give David Wright a little rest after they had clinched, but also to get him more at-bats to get ready for the postseason. Have you noticed recently, because of the scouting report, Julio's been a little tardy, that the pitchers on opposing teams are going right after him with hard stuff away.
And he gets him upstairs. First strikeout for Guzman.
There's a hanging slider here from Guzman, but Julio just seems a little in between now. He's a little late in the fastball, a little early on that breaking ball. Not a great one by Guzman. Usually classy hitter like Franco is able to at least foul that pitch off.
So 1 out and nobody on, and here's David Newhand making just his 2nd start of the season. Started a game in left field and today playing second base. Had a pinch hit home run earlier on this homestand. And his playing time has been very limited. Damian Easley has been getting most of the time at second in the absence of Valentin. 1-1 to Newhan.
A foul tip caught Henry Blanco behind the plate. Castro on deck.
I think I've seen this lineup before. I think it was March 8th.
What, in Kissimmee?
Well, if you can run this lineup out there and win, it's like you've stolen a game. And that's, you know, it's no disrespect intended to the bench guys, but normally you don't play all your bench guys on the same day.
Well, you got to look at the positive, Gary. What a bench the Mets have today.
That's true. You got Reyes and Beltran and Wright and Loduca and Easley. That's a bench. Newhan pulls it foul.
And don't you think that these guys who don't get to start very often don't think about a badge of honor of going out there and starting a ball game and winning the game for the regulars, not only giving them a day of rest, but also trying to get that 26th win for the Mets.
And you would think that an early run would be huge in this game for the Mets because, you know, the Cubs last night, once they fell behind, it was almost like the game was over. And yeah, they're looking forward to going home. They've got a day game tomorrow against the White Sox as interleague play begins. You could send them into hurry-up mode in a hurry. Just missed outside, 2-2.
Well, just like mental toughness can win games that are delayed by 3 hours, so can they with quick turnarounds. Just being tougher mentally and wanting to win more can make you win these kind of games, just with sheer effort.
Newhan bounces one just foul. Mr. DeRosa got the glove on it. Nice to see DeRosa back on the field. He got run into at first base by Andy Chavez on Monday night. And we've seen first basemen get seriously hurt on plays like that. Derek Lee is a classic example a couple of years ago. But DeRosa only missed a couple of days and he's back in there. 3-2 to Newhan, who has certainly battled in this at bat. This will be the 9th pitch from Guzman to Newhan. Struck him out. 93-mile-an-hour heat. Back-to-back strikeouts for Guzman.
Well, the Cubs have always loved Guzman's arm. You see the movement on his fastball. You saw the slider he struck out Franco with. He has all the tools. Just how many times we say this in Major League Baseball now? Guys are just brought up early. They're raw talent and kind of have to shape it and teach them on the fly in the big leagues.
Still coming in here at Shea. Hey, we already started. Castro takes ball one. You saw the numbers on Guzman. It's his 13th career start. He's 0-6 to begin his career. There are 4 other active pitchers who began their careers 0-6, and the Mets faced one of them last night, Rich Hill. Citi Field construction ongoing. Hundreds and hundreds of workers out there every day, and every day they make more progress, and you can see it. It's great because we can sit and watch this every day.
They're going to make a little less progress today, though, Gary. The game's going on. You got to take a peek occasionally.
Castro lifts one to left center. Pagan and Soriano look at each other, and Soriano's got it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Angel Guzman. 2 in the books at Shea with no score. Be sure to join us in the SNY Studio Plaza tomorrow morning at 11:30 for an event to get you ready for the Subway Series. There'll be Mets ticket giveaways. SNY's Matt Yaloff will be hosting, and Ronnie will be there.
Yes.
Keith will be there.
Can't wait.
Mazzo will be there. I'll be there. Pictures, autographs tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. You be there. Oliver Perez coming off a gem in his last start against Andy Pettit tomorrow night here at Shea in the opener of the Subway Series. Henry Blanco leading off in the 3rd inning. Jason Vargas has made it look easy. 16 pitches to get 6 outs. Blanco lifts one along the left field line. Gomez took a bad route, but he has the speed to make up for it. And that's the first out.
Well, we saw Soriano with a little circle, where Gomez out in left field. You can see him there. He does a little circle back too. Henry Blanco had that big swing, but like you said, you can't make up for speed and talent. And he closed ground really quickly.
Oliver Perez with his bookish look.
Yes.
Cesar Izturis, who had the only hit off Jorge Sosa last night.
You know, I think that it's how much talent that he has, how much confidence the Mets have that they can start Gomez anywhere who's a regular day center fielder. But I think left field would be the toughest one for any young player to play because they're not used to that ball coming off the bat from the right hand or hooking away from them. I mean, it will in right field, the right hand bat will go away from you, but it's hard, a little harder to play here at Shea. It juts back a little bit by the bullpen and that Dunkin' Donuts cup.
You know, when they put up the lineups today in the clubhouse, when they first put them up, they don't have the positions next to them.
Yeah.
And when we saw Chavez and Gomez both in the lineup, we were all wondering who was going to play where. And I thought they'd give Gomez a chance to play center, if only because you want to get a look at him in his natural position. I mean, they obviously both can play. 3-2 to Izturis.
Well, Izturis has probably had the best road trip of all the Cubby hitters now, hitting .524, 11 for 21, and had the only hit for a long time against Jorge Sosa, that line shot up the middle.
3-2 to Izturis. Popped it up. Newhan out. Green in, and again Green taking charge. And there are 2 away. 8 up and 8 down for Jason Vargas. Well, the Cubbies are a little fortunate right now. They're 6 games behind Milwaukee in the Central. The Brewers all of a sudden have cooled down on this road trip. They lost their 4th straight last night. They're 1-5 in New York and Philadelphia. And you know, the Cubs are still trying to find their way after spending all that money in the offseason. Here's Guzman, 0 for 5 at the plate, and he takes ball 1. $138 million for that guy. There's an M in there. Somebody knows what that says. 1-1 to Guzman.
Just reminded me I need to change my contacts when I get home today. That's all that reminded me of.
To the left side, Franco with the play, and he makes the perfect toss, and Jason Vargas is perfect through 3. Franco making like he does that every day. Well, here's today's SNY text poll of the game. And today's question: do you think that sending Mike Pelfrey to the minors in favor of Jason Vargas was the right move? A for yes, B for no. And you can text from your cell phone or on the web. Text your response to 57508 or visit sny.tv to enter. Stay tuned for the results later in today's game. Here's Carlos Gomez making his 3rd start, and he's made a splash so far. 2 hits and 2 RBIs last night. He's a .444 big league hitter. And he tries to bunt his way on and sends a souvenir flying away.
That was interesting right there. That was a push bunt. That was not going to be one of those drag bunts to the 3rd baseman. He was trying to push this to Terrio, get it past the pitcher, and use that great speed.
You got an inexperienced first baseman in DeRosa, which could factor into that.
Ooh.
And Gomez gets drilled. He was leaning into that ball.
Who's going to argue this, though?
He's going to say that he was offering at it, and they actually asked the first base umpire, and the first base umpire, Mike Riley, just said no, he did not. Now the concern is for Gomez. The home plate umpire, Eric Cooper, asked Riley, and Riley said no. We had a call like this earlier on this homestand that worked against the Mets. Meanwhile, Gomez trying to squeeze that right hand.
See, Mike Herbst is putting his fingers in his palm, letting him squeeze around the palm to see if he has strength in that hand. Fastball coming in, 2 bunts in a row. I think that's a good call by Mike Riley. He was trying to take the bat back, and it got him right on the fingers, on the knuckles.
Looked like a glancing shot, which is good.
It's kind of the price you pay, because what you're doing is you're trying to run up almost into the ball to time it, so you have almost a running start to first base. And see his feet? He's trying to work his way towards first with that bat and his legs, and paid for it with that inside fastball from Guzman.
And it did look as though he was pulling the bat out of the way before he got hit.
Mike Riley, first base umpire, the good umpire.
So now Jason Vargas will come to bat with Gomez at first, and you figure Vargas is bunting, and he probably will, but he's an outstanding hitter. Lifetime .310 hitter in the major leagues in 42 at bats. Played at Long Beach State, where he carried a big stick. Gomez a threat to run as well, and Vargas lays off 1-0.
And you mentioned Gary DeRosa at first base and experience. This ball has to go to the first baseman. Make him field this bunt.
DeRosa's been a second baseman, shortstop most of his career, filling in at first with Derek Lee missing this entire series.
Ramirez at third base, really pinching in hard.
Would you consider butcher boying it by him? Vargas tries to push that bunt to third, fouled it off.
I would. I think that, you know, if you're not confident, it's a little more difficult to get that ball to first baseman, third baseman. That's not good technique. Drop head of the bat, and he's also bunting to third base. You don't want to do that. Got to get the ball to first. If Vargas pinching too much, he's got a good ability with the bat. Just take that outside fastball and hit it that way.
See Ramirez creeping in close at third. See if they take the bunt off. Nope. Throw to first, and Vargas was giving away bunt.
And the manager, that's what he'll do, is he'll tell his pitcher to hold the ball, then throw to first, because they want to induce the person at bat to reveal whether they're bunting or not. And Vargas was, well, didn't have a good poker face there.
Good time to take it off now. Maybe even play hit and run. Gets the bunt down. Guzman will have to go to first. 1-3 on the sacrifice, moving Gomez to second.
Well, Guzman had an inkling, because this ball's right back on him, 2 bounces. Had an inkling of going to second base. But as a pitcher, you got to know who's running. And with the speed that Gomez has, that would be a very risky play to go to second base. Especially with the way he tossed this ball to first. Doesn't look very comfortable fielding his position as he kind of grenaded that over to first base.
Here's the pin. So the Mets have a runner in scoring position for the first time. Eddie Chavez, it went right back up the middle for a base hit his first time up. Great speed at second with Gomez. And Chavez takes the breaking ball strike. And he grounds it to first. DeRosa makes the play as Gomez goes to third, but now there are 2 out. So it's left to Ruben Gotay to try and get the run in. Gotay bounced into a double play his first time up. Ramirez stays in close at third against the threat of the bunt, and the changeup misses. 1-0. What do you think about the full windup with a guy like Gomez at third base?
I don't like it. I think, though, he goes to the full windup because a lot of young pitchers feel they throw harder when they throw from the full windup. I just think it's a bad proposition because any darting motion from a runner on third base, sometimes you're in trouble with a balk.
I know when Reyes is at third, he'll always make those fakes down the line to try and induce a balk. We haven't seen that from Gomez yet.
And you don't want to do it on the first pitch, but about the third or fourth pitch where he's feeling comfortable on that mound, if he broke right now and gave it hard 5 steps, you don't know what Guzman's going to do.
Now he's behind Gotay 3-0. And he walked him. And so Sean Green will get to the plate, and that's the last thing in the world Guzman wanted to do.
You can see Lou. He doesn't have to speak a word to know what's going on here. He's saying to himself, how can you walk Gotay, who's hitting under 200, to face Green, who's had a great series here, but that's what happens to young pitchers. Those things can happen. It's hard sometimes for them to manage an inning correctly.
And Lou has seen walks kill his team. Rick Peterson and John Maine, a little skull session.
John Maine had a side session today. He's also doing something very interesting in the outfield. I'll get back to it after this Green at bat.
Green hit a pop fly single that fell in front of Soriano his first time up. And he takes the breaking ball for a strike. Green trying to get the run in with 2 outs. And you see what he's done in these situations. It's just been a solid year for Sean all the way around. Not the power hitter he once was, but he has 5 home runs. Today the Mets finished just about a quarter of the schedule. 1-1 to Green.
Well, think about it. He's on a pace of 44 doubles, 20 home runs. It's plenty enough power. Look at that curveball, that slider that he has. He has the knuckle up on the ball. You'll see a few pitchers do that, and he forces that right into the ground. It's like it's not quite a knuckle curveball, but it's the curveball that you're trying to put a little more weight on the ball. This is a fastball grip here.
Green pounds one to the second baseman. And Terrio throws him out to end the inning. So Guzman able to work around the hit batsman and the walk. So a couple of less than known young pitchers going zeros so far at Shea. Fourth inning with no score. Ryan Terrio leads off against Jason Vargas and fouls one away. Vargas went perfectly through the order first time around on just 27 pitches. The Cyclones are Brooklyn. Tickets for the Cyclones 2007 season are on sale now. Get your tickets at brooklyncyclones.com. It's a hot ticket. Get it now. Terrio bounced out to short his first time up. And he takes a letter high strike, and Vargas has been throwing all strikes.
First pitch, fastball away. Second pitch, cutter in. Change up down. And a nice generous strike zone so far from Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire.
Shallow right, and Green is there. Been a busy day for Green. In fact, that's the 6th outfield fly ball of the 10 that Vargas has retired. He came up at age 22 with the Marlins 2 years ago and broke in with a splash and was in the Marlins rotation to start last season, but it didn't work out for him, and he wound up spending most of the rest of the year in the minor league.
Well, like happens to a lot of young players. He's rushed up, hit with a splash, and then took his lumps.
Angel Pagan takes ball 1.
You know, he had probably his worst outing last year. Jason Vargas was against the Mets when he was with the Marlins, and he took a beating for his team.
Little bloop, that's going to fall in. The first hit off Jason Vargas. Just a little cue shot off the end of the bat. And Pagan is aboard after Vargas retired the first 10.
Good pitch, cutter in again. Pagan really opening up. Very fortunate hit by Pagan down the right field line. Now, I was saying about Jason Vargas. Last year he pitched against the Mets. Their starter went down early with an injury. Came out. He pitched 6 1/3, gave up 10 hits, 8 earned runs. But you had to be impressed that he stood out there. He took his lumps for the team, got them to a position where maybe they could win next day's game. And I think that was very impressive, not only to his teammates, but also I think to Willie Randolph, who really, you know, guys that know the game, know that those kind of things have to happen. El Duque did it for the Mets in Philadelphia last year.
Pagan with decent speed at first base. Soriano takes inside. Vargas has been easy to run against in his big league career. In fact, opponents have been successful on all 17 of their stolen base attempts.
He has a decent move, but he hasn't learned how to employ that slide step to the plate. Usually has a big kind of almost a windup when he releases the balls. Look at that.
Big leg kick, and the changeup had Soriano fooled, and it's 1-2.
You're right. That was outstanding changeup. And all you have to do now, it's easier said than done because he's very aggressive first couple of pitches. But once you get ahead of Soriano, you just do not throw another strike. That is the key. He will swing at some point.
Soriano just 1 for 13 in this series after grounding out his first trip. And he takes just inside. 2-2. You know, you talk about Vargas and having some knowledge of the game. His dad was a high school baseball coach, and Jason has been around the game his entire life. So often those sons of coaches are in a certain mode. He's picked off. Delgado with the throw to second. Gotay's tag is too late. And Pagan steals the base despite being picked off.
Well, he went on first move, and sometimes you can catch that base, but Delgado, I think, the two things happened there. One, Delgado couldn't get it out of his glove in time, and I think that Jason Vargas, he's got to give a little harder toss there. Can't be so free and easy and just throw it to Delgado. Get it over to him quick. Delgado's got to get rid of it quick. Pagan can run.
And that's always a harder play for a right-hand throwing first baseman. 3-2 to Soriano.
Well, they have those big gloves, and the big glove is the catch-22 of it is it's great for scooping up. You know, one hoppers. It's great for fielding in the field. Not so great for getting that ball out of the glove to make a throw.
3-2 to Soriano. In the air to left field, hit well. Gomez back and has room. 2 out. Gomez is interesting to watch, tracking fly balls.
Well, that just got up on the bat, and watch him when he goes back. He'll take a peek at the wall and see how far he is. And it might not be as smooth and free and easy as Carlos Beltran, but the same result.
He looks like a young colt.
Yeah.
He really does. He's got those legs splaying in every direction.
Bounding in the field.
And he's 21, and he has got enormous talent. And again, we said this the other night when we first saw him. The first word that everybody uses to describe him is raw, as in raw talent.
Well, I was talking to Tony Bernersod, who's in charge of the minor leagues, and he was just saying that I just asked him. I said, Tony, what do you see this young player someday as far as power numbers are concerned? Because he is a 5-2 player. And he said if he learns how to hit first, and he means hit for average, have a short cut, as he gets bigger and stronger, those home runs have come. But he feels there's no reason that he couldn't be a 30 home run kind of hitter. And I totally agree.
Well, he's 6'4", 200 pounds. 1-1 to Ramirez. In at the knees for a strike.
What I like about him, though, is I think Tony Bernersod said the right thing. Learn how to hit first. Have the ability to be a 300-plus hitter, and then hit your home runs as it comes along.
Well, the Mets have certainly got some elite outfield prospects with Gomez and Fernando Martinez. Martinez just 18 years old and playing in Double-A.
You're going to have free agent pitchers all over baseball in line to try to sign with the Mets when they're going to look at that outfield. Wright and Reyes on the left side.
And you know, we talked about Millage yesterday and his latest misstep. You know, one of the consequences is he's got guys going by him now, and he's got to really be careful. Taking low 2-2.
Well, he's been hurt. You can't make the big club in the tub, Gary. You know, I mean, he's doing all that, you know, getting his legs ready and this or that, while these other guys are hitting home runs and stealing bases and putting up numbers.
2-2 to Ramirez, who flied to left his first time up. Inside 3-2. I mean, if Millage had not been on the disabled list, Gomez probably wouldn't be here right now. when the Mets needed an extra outfielder, it would have been Lastings.
I know it's early, but Ramirez has got all that power. 3-2, base open. Might be a good time for a little changeup away. Try to get Ramirez off that fastball, which he likes inside.
Driven deep left field, right down the line. That ball is off the fence, in play. In to score is Pagan. Ramirez will stop at first with a long single, and the Cubs take a 1-0 lead. Gomez played the carom well, and I'm not sure if Ramirez was in his home run trot.
He was. He wasn't running. But you can see playing straight up. Center field, playing a little to the right field. Gets this ball down. The amazing thing that he was able to keep it fair. But look at the hustle from Carlos Gomez. And I did not know he had that kind of arm.
So 1-0 Chicago. Here's Matt Merton, and he fouls it away. So a soft single, a stolen base on a pickoff, and then Ramirez with that hit off the wall to bring the run in.
Well, that was the misstep for the Mets. Pagan gave them an out, not able to take advantage of it.
0-2 to Merton. Let's take a look at Ramirez out of the box. Oh. You know, you hate to kill a guy who has been as successful as Ramirez is. And, you know, no third baseman the last 5 years has more home runs and RBIs than Aramis Ramirez.
That's right, 141 home runs, 444 RBIs.
But the guy's tough to watch as Merton goes down looking. That's the first strikeout for Jason Vargas. Vargas gives up a run as Ramirez drives one in, and the Mets will try and fight back in the bottom of the fourth. Looking more and more like a ballpark every day. Citi Field, future home of the Mets.
There's something really cool about its Spartan look right now, because, you know, once everything's up and you're going to have all the colors, and it's cool to see those stands. 45,000 New Yorkers are going to be able to fit in those seats. The Jackie Robinson Rotunda. You have the 360-degree walk around.
Delgado fouls it off. To me, the thing that's most striking when we visited the site out there is how compact everything is, how close all of the seats are going to be to the field compared to this ballpark we're in now. In there, and Delgado down looking. Third strikeout for Angel Guzman.
Eric Cooper has liked the ball down. He recently called one down on Ramirez. Here he calls one on Delgado. Fastball away. I think he catches the plate, but as you can see, watch Blanco when he catches this. The glove's down. But Eric Cooper has called. It's been pretty consistent the entire game, and it is getaway day, and those things can happen.
Julio Franco struck out his first time up. So Guzman now working with a 1-0 lead, looking for his first big league win. '13th start, 22nd appearance in the big leagues, and it's been elusive. He's pitched well this year, though, in his 2 starts. Franco chasing the fastball, and it's 0-2.
Well, Guzman has the body of a starting pitcher, long and lean, those long arms, long fingers, longer your fingers, better to grip those breaking pitches. Blanco with a little pinky away. That's fastball away.
David Newhan waits on deck. Mets have had 2 hits. They both came in the first inning.
Well, the young and the mature. See Blanco again. He's looking at Franco to make sure he's not looking. Fastball in.
In there for a call. Third strike. And another questioning look. 4th strikeout for Guzman.
Well, if the Mets came in figuring that the young Guzman would not throw strikes and be a little wild, they've got to rethink. That ball caught all of the plate. I think Franco thought it was down from the side. It looks like it had plenty of elevation.
Guzman had only walked 4 in 18 innings coming into this start, and he's walked only 1 today. So now 2 out and nobody on for Newhan, who struck out his first time up. And so far the Mets reserve laden lineup has yet to click. Had an opportunity in the third with a couple of men on, but unable to cash in. Newhan hits one hard, and he's got a base hit. Just the 4th hit of the season for David Newhan, a 2-out single.
So we say all the time, stay away from down and in on the left-handers. And that's where that pitch was. Was running a little bit away. But nice job of Newhan being able to hook that ball in the hole.
So here's Castro to try and make something of it. With the tying run at first. Castro with 3 home runs this season. He hit them very quickly at the start of the year. Fly to left his first time up today. It was very entertaining last night listening to the results of Ramon having worn a microphone during batting practice a couple of nights ago.
What did he say to David Wright? He'd make a good setup man because this ball was cutting and sinking from third base to first base in warm-ups.
Newhan's running, and the pitch can't be handled by Blanco. Stolen base for Newhan, his first of the year.
Well, nice job. Guzman takes a lot of time to get rid of it. Blanco trying to jump out of there. Tough pitch to throw, and a great jump by Newhan. Nice aggressive play. I like to see that.
That's 44th stolen base of the season. That's the most in the National League. Newhan had 4 steals last year with Baltimore. He's had as many as 11 in a big league season. 2-0 to Castro. And he takes a slider for a strike. 2-1.
Well, that's that little slider on the inside corner that umpires love to call for a strike, and that hitters think is a ball. Definitely catches the plate. It's just kind of a little spinner inside that doesn't really do too much. Easy for the umpire to call it a strike.
Sometimes it almost looks like that pitch is stopping.
Yeah.
On its way to home plate.
Yeah, it kind of just spins and doesn't move. You know, it's supposed to move as a slider. Doesn't after a while. Kind of just bores in there straight. Problem with that is that it's good to get it over for a strike. Not a very good pitch if you're trying to get a hitter out. That's one of those that goes a long way.
Two and two to Castro. Slider down, and it's 3-2. So Blanco takes a trip to the mound to talk to Guzman. You've got the number 8 hitter, the rookie Gomez, on deck.
And that's, you know, the veteran Blanco, that's what he's telling his pitcher right now. How confident are you with this, with Castro, the right-hander? Would you prefer the rookie? Okay, I want Castro. What do I want to throw?
Weekday afternoons between 4 and 6. Log on to CW11.com for live traffic updates for the CW11's Commuter Cast. Check with Commuter Cast before you hit the road to find the fastest way home or the easiest way to Shea. A similar situation to the one that Vargas was in with Ramirez a moment ago. Castro not quite the hitter Ramirez is, but he takes the breaking ball for ball 4. Mike Riley confirms no swing, and so Gomez gets the opportunity with 2 out and 2 on.
Well, obviously he opted to go against the rookie Gomez. So you see Castro with his big strong arms just able to keep that bat back, but 3-2 breaking ball to Castro tells Carlos Gomez he wants to go after him.
Gomez was hit on the right hand by a pitch while trying to drop a bunt down in the 3rd inning. Shook it off, and now looking to get Newhan home from second base with the tying run in a 1-0 game. Had a couple of RBIs, first 2 of his career last night. aggressive going after that fastball.
Wow, turn the fan on. That's quite a swing by Carlos Gomez. Trying to take a shot, thinking he was going to get after the walk, a first pitch fastball. He did. But Guzman just beat him with it.
That was a looking to do a little too much swing. Slowly hit. Gomez with good speed. They go to second smartly for the force play. Ramirez getting the slow-footed Castro for the final out of the inning. Good decision by Ramirez not to go after Gomez, and the Cubs keep that 1-0 lead.
Cubs up by a run on the Mets as we start the 5th inning here at Shea. You know, Mark DeRosa will lead it off for the Cubs here, and he is a local guy, a Jersey guy through and through. He grew up in Carlstadt, New Jersey. His parents still live there, went to Bergen Catholic High School. And he grew up a die-hard Yankee fan. He said he loved all the Yankees growing up. He said he would emulate the ball playing wiffle ball in his front yard, whether it was Mattingly, Randolph. He said even a couple months Kevin Moss snuck in there for a couple of emulations in the front yard. But there's one moment that kind of stuck with him. He said he always signs autographs now. He always pays attention to the kids any chance he gets, because when he was a kid, one time they were driving home in a big traffic jam, as you would expect. There was a cool-looking car next to him. So he sat there in the back seat waving and waving, and finally the window rolled down. It was Matt Noakes who rolled down the window and said, "Hey, kid, what's going on?" He said that moment stuck with him really through the rest of his life, and just how that affected him and made him happy. He said he never ignores the kids today because of that. Back upstairs, Gary and Ron. What's up, fellas?
That's outstanding.
Yeah, good story, Kevin. Just to get Matt Noakes' name in there. Kevin Moss.
A couple of guys who hit some home runs in a hurry. 3-1 to DeRosa.
Moss, his first full rookie year, didn't he hit 24 or something like that?
Yeah, he had like 10 in his first 70 at bats, kind of like Benny Agbayani did.
Mike Jacobs.
Right. DeRosa fouls it off. Mark DeRosa not only was a terrific baseball player growing up, but a quarterback at the University of Pennsylvania. See the pitch count on Vargas very low. Getting those fly balls. Hit hard down to third, and Franco handles it with aplomb. Never makes anything look too difficult, does it? 1 out and nobody on. Time to check in with the studio. Baseball Day in New York update, and Chris Cotter.
All right, thanks, Gary. Indians hosting the Twins, bottom of the 7th, no score. That's Victor Martinez. He takes Johan Santana deep to left field and out, his 5th of the season. Cleveland up 1-0. Ryan Garco would follow with his own solo shot. Indians up 2-zip right now in the 8th.
And Fausto Carmona out pitching that game. The Indians are playing extremely well. Here's Henry Blanco.
Santana's had a couple of blips on the radar screen this year. He had won 17 in a row in the Dome in Minnesota. Has lost 3 already this year.
Well, he generally pitches better second half than first half. But the Twins need to get it going because Detroit and Cleveland are both playing so well at the top of that division. Castro out to talk to Vargas. I mean, the Indians, you know they can hit. But their pitching is really starting to fall into line, particularly since they got Cliff Lee back.
Well, CC Sabathia yesterday with an 8-inning effort, only 1 run, 6 hits.
On 2-0, check swing pop up. And Newhand's got it, 2 away. So Blanco retired.
Boy, that will make a hitter angry. 2-0, his count. Doesn't want to pitch, check swing, and a little bloop for an out.
So here's Cesar Izturis with 2 out. Izturis flied to right his first time up, came into the day with a 9-game hitting streak. In the air again, and Chavez is right there waiting for it. And Vargas does 59 pitches through 5 innings, dispatching them quickly. Take the train to the game. Long Island Railroad, Metro North, and Subway customers will enjoy a $10 Mets ticket discount for select games throughout the season. For details, visit Mets.com. Time for our Aflac trivia question for the afternoon. Only 3 players in Major League history played for both New York teams. That's the Mets and the Yankees, and both Chicago teams. Can you name them? So that doesn't take into account the Dodgers and the Giants.
Yes.
Just the 2 current New York teams and the 2 Chicago teams. 3 players. Chew on that. Jason Vargas takes a cut, 0-1.
We talked about how good a hitter Jason Vargas is. See if he can start a rally for himself, down 1-0 here in the bottom of the 5th.
Slowly bounced, and Terrio with the easy play, 1 out. By the way, I've seen the answer to that question.
Yes.
It's probably one of the hardest we've ever asked.
And I did know one of them.
I knew one of them too.
Yeah, I played with him, so. His nickname is Dirt.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that.
Oh, wow.
I would have known.
Oh, you would have known the other one.
Who has a Med record.
Triples.
A couple of Med records. Hits and triples. See, we gave that one away.
Yeah, my fault.
Third one you'll never get. I don't think, unless you're a huge diehard. Sabermetrician, historian. Andy Chavez takes a strike.
He's got the same last name as a current Met.
That's true. Okay.
That's it. so much for the Aflac trivia.
So much for it's really hard. You're never going to get it. Chavez has his 2nd hit of the day. And just the 4th Met hit of the afternoon. Well, Angel Guzman, over his 12 career starts, has averaged right around 4 1/3 innings per start. He's now pitched 4 1/3 innings this afternoon, working with a 1-0 lead. And Chavez aboard with a tying run for Gotay.
Small difference. He has a pretty good pitch count so far his game.
Just 63 pitches through 4 1/3. Gotay has grounded into a double play and walked. And Chavez gets back. Andy has not attempted a stolen base this year. You see all those games, all those starts, and the career numbers are not good. But this is a young pitcher of talent. And so far, so good for Guzman today. Andy had 12 steals last year in 15 attempts. Playing full-time with Montreal in 2004, he had 32 stolen bases. But no attempts yet this year. Perfect time for a hit and run, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
And they're thinking that way.
Well, Andy had a big jump and kind of guessed a little too early, so he decided to come back, and good thinking with that pitch out. People don't think, you know, in a pitch out, a pitcher plays a big part, because you can't give it away by quick pitching, or you can't do something different in your motion to give it away to the base runner. What you really want to do as a pitcher is you want to take a real deliberate set and a real deliberate delivery to the plate, which really gets the runner to think this is a real good time to go.
Do you throw your best fastball?
You throw a accurate fastball. That's more important than your best fastball.
1-0 to Gotay. Chavez running. Blanco with the throw on target, not in time. Chavez stutter stepped his way, took a step, stopped, and then ran. And he steals his first base of the year.
Watch, he has the big jump, and then he's afraid he's going to get picked off. But just gets underneath the tag as Blanco's throw one hopped his Taurus, and Lou's not happy with this one either.
Jeff Kellogg, the second base umpire, ruled that Chavez got the hand in ahead of the tag.
That was a good call. Watch that hand get in, guys. Just gets the base.
But then what happens afterwards? Does his hand come off the bag?
Tag on the forearm, and the foot stayed with it.
Yeah, and he didn't keep the tag on him anyway, so definitely the right call. So Lou's been upset a couple of times today, back on the hit batsman of Gomez when he thought he had offered at it. That appeared to be a good call, and so did this one. Didn't kick any dirt, didn't throw any bases. It's a day game after a night game for Lou, too. Lou is just now getting back to the dugout, by the way.
He's got the small steps for a big man.
1-1 to Gotay.
Line drive, right field, base hit. That'll tie up the ball game. Chavez in to score. Gotay heading to second. It's an RBI double for Ruben Gotay, and the Mets have drawn even at 1-1.
Well, nice steal, which starts the inning. Lujan stole last inning. Mets trying to push the issue, change up away. Gotay's able to hook that ball into right field. Amazing hitting. Chavez scores easily, and Gotay has good speed also. Gets into second base.
So the stolen base proves costly to Lou Piniella and the Cubs. 4 1/3 might be the magic number for Guzman after all. Mets have gotten even. Sean Green trying to get him a lead with Gotay at second. Green is 1 for 2. And the curveball misses. 1-0.
I was wondering, Gary, for a guy who's never won, now his 13th start, in the 5th inning, you need that to qualify for the win. I wonder if it starts playing games with you mentally, saying, boy, if I could just get through this inning, I'll have a chance for a win.
Well, you know, we lived through Anthony Young in the early 90s.
I feel very sorry for you.
And Anthony Young, several times during that 27-game losing streak, was on the verge and let it get away. And there's got to be some kind of mental block there at a certain point. 1-1 to Green. The funny thing about the end of Anthony Young's losing streak, this was in '93 against the Marlins. He gave up a run in the top of the 10th and was in line for loss number 28 in a row, and the Mets rallied and won in the bottom of the 10th and got him a win. And he was he'd become a national celebrity for his losing streak, which might have been part of the problem.
That's right. He was on talk shows and everything, right?
Then he won a game, and that was it. Nobody wanted to talk to him anymore. The curveball in for a strike. 2-2 to Green.
Correlation between his wins and his bling bling was way out of whack.
Well, he had bling everywhere, including his teeth. Gotay is not getting much of a lead off second base because his Turris, the shortstop, is keeping a very close watch on him.
Again, we talked about Pagan in center, very shallow. Wind's kind of freshening to left field, it seems. Blowing across from right to left.
Go ahead run at second with 1 out. Curveball, bounce foul. Hojo can't make the pick.
Sheik, you got to let those go. That had some top spin. Eat up that right hand of yours.
As a base coach, you have to know what you can handle and what you can't.
Very important. But he's new up here in the big leagues.
He's got the nice shades working though.
Yeah, he's a little top spin, and oh, that's right off the fingers. Don't put any ice on it, Hojo. You're a coach now.
That'll have an impact on his BP throwing for a couple of days. You know, that a lot of folks don't know that one of the prime duties for the coaching staff is to get out there and throw batting practice.
Although I don't think Sheik's throwing yet.
No?
I think he's got the bad wing.
Still.
Yeah, he's not physically and mentally prepared to go out there for the 40 minutes that those coaches have to go out every day.
Of course, at home you got batting practice pitchers to do a good deal of the work, but on the road, got to put in your time. 3-2 to Green.
Hit the other way, falling fast, base hit. Gotay has to hold up, so he'll stop at third. And the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out.
Second hit of the day for Shawn Green.
Well, this is why he's been so great this year. The distribution of Shawn Green's hits. They're going to pitch him outside. He will go that way. Inside, it will be where he goes for power. And Gotay was very surprised that he had to stop there, because if you looked at the outfielders before that ball was hit, you had to know that was going to drop in. And he was stuck in a place. If Soriano ever had made that play, it would have been a double play.
So now Delgado, who has struggled this year getting runners in from third, he's been successful just 3 out of 8 occasions with a runner at third and less than 2 out. Has a chance here to give the Mets the lead with a fly ball. He's popped up and struck out today, 0 for 2.
Well, when you want to hit something on the outside part of the plate, you can wait a little longer. You can almost hit that ball not behind you, but at least even with you. You're going to hit a ball on the inside part of the plate. You've got to get that bat out in fair territory to meet it at the point you need to hit it hard.
Back to the mound, might be a double play. As Hurst handles the low throw and turns it over, and the Cubs get through the inning. The Mets tie it, but Delgado unable to get the run in. The 1-6-3 double play thwarts the rally. But Chavez with a stolen base and Gotay with a nice piece of hitting to get him in, and the Mets get even. Well, let's answer that difficult Aflac trivia question, shall we? The 3 players who've played for both New York and both Chicago teams. Well, I got Lance Johnson. You got Dick Tidrow.
I played with Dirt, Dick Tidrow.
And neither one of us would have got Charlie Smith.
Dick Tidrow now, is he with the Yankees? Runs some of their minor league. It's either the Yankees or Chicago White Sox.
Guzman grounded out his first time up, and he grounds this one foul. And Mike Quaid, knowing that that was a much easier ball to pick up, makes the play. Meanwhile, Guzman, what did he fell him?
He fouled it off his foot, I guess.
Right off the toe.
You cannot leave a game as a pitcher, and didn't even look like it hit his toe.
You're saying there's no way you can leave at this point.
No, you got a great game going. I mean, you can't leave. Listen, pitchers on the bench with the players have a bad enough reputation. You can't leave a game when you're hitting and you foul one off your toe, or you just, you're just killing the fraternity of pitchers as we know it.
The 2007 Subway Series is coming tomorrow, and SNY is live and on site at Shea with full coverage of the first Mets-Yankees battle of the year. The Subway Series on SNY coverage begins tomorrow at 5, only on Sportsnet New York. Tomorrow night, Oliver Perez, coming off that 2-hit effort in his last start, will go against Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte, who's been pitching in some tough luck. I see that the Empire State Building is going to honor the Subway Series. The East and West is going to be blue and orange for the Mets. North and South, blue and white for the Yankees.
That means
Friday, Saturday night.
Blue and orange points toward Queens and New Jersey.
Yes. Which,
whereas the Yankee colors point toward Staten Island and Westchester.
that's right. But they're thinking the Bronx.
Yeah, I guess. 1 and 2 to Guzman. It's all good.
Yeah.
The Yankees are playing in Chicago this afternoon, down 1-0 in the second. On the outside corner, and Guzman down looking. Just the second strikeout for Jason Vargas.
What I like about Vargas so far is a couple things. One is aggressiveness in the strike zone. His ability to spot that fastball away. I saw last couple of years, especially last year, he had trouble spotting his fastball away, but apparently he's been working on that in New Orleans.
Although he has not been very successful in New Orleans, particularly lately. There's Ryan Terrio, who's 0 for 2, and he grounds one past Franco. Gotay with the pickup, but the long throw won't be nearly in time. And Terrio has an infield hit.
Well, that was a hit as soon as it got past Julio Franco, who had to play in as the threat of bunt from Terrio was very speedy. When he could not come up with it on the dive, even though a fine play by Gotay. We've already seen from Terrio, and I like his talent. Great quickness from the young second baseman.
Just the third hit off Vargas, and here's Angel Pagan. Pagan blooped a single to right, stole a base, and scored the only Chicago run in the fourth. Former Met farmhand. And Pagan, an interesting guy whom the Mets let go for nothing. Straight cash deal 2 winters ago, and now getting a chance to play a little bit with the Cubs.
Another one of those great outfielders with great speed. Can they hit enough to stay in the big leagues? As Michael Wirtz in the bullpen for Chicago Cubs probably has been, even though he walked in Delgado, their strongest reliever.
In the air, deep to left field, back toward the corner. Gomez looks up, and it's out of here. Angel Pagan hits a 2-run homer off his former club and gives the Cubs a 3-1 lead. Almost mixed up my Angels. He's the Angel in the outfield.
That's right.
And Pagan hits his second home run of the season to put the Cubs up 3-1.
Well, can he hit enough? Today he can hit enough with his second hit. Big home run.
Vargas had allowed only 2 home runs in his 7 starts in New Orleans. Soriano takes ball 1.
It's a little cutter inside, but it stayed down. You want that pitch about belt high, a little higher than that. You can jam the right-handed hitter, but that ball was down. Just drop the head of the bat on it.
Soriano drives one to left. Gomez in, tries to make the shoestring catch, but comes up empty, and Soriano is aboard. So a base hit for Soriano, the 3rd straight hit off Jason Vargas.
Well, good try by Gomez. And here, once he realizes it, he cannot make the play. That is a fine effort. Trying to make the play, realizes he can, so he really opens up in his glove and his body and his shoulders and does whatever he can do, just like a catcher, to try to block that and keep that in front. Fine play by Gomez.
Soriano aboard for Ramirez, who takes ball 1. Ramirez drove one off the wall in the left field corner. Drove in the only Cub run, admired it, and had to stop at first. That bullpen about to get busy behind Vargas, who teeters for the first time here in the 6th. Jason Vargas, over his last 4 starts in New Orleans, was 0-3 with a 9.17 ERA. But up until that home run by Pagan, he had looked terrific as Ambierix Burgos gets up in the Mets bullpen.
You know, it's amazing how things work when players are called up, especially pitchers. Sometimes it's not the hottest pitcher. Sometimes it's the day. Held out of a start a couple of days ago. Vargas was the guy they went to because the timing was right.
And that was the case when they called up Chan Ho Park as well. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you look at the numbers down in New Orleans, nobody was pitching well enough to really deserve a call-up. And this may be a 1-start affair for Vargas. There goes Soriano, driven deep left field. Back goes Gomez toward the corner, and it's out of here. A 2-run homer for Aramis Ramirez, his 2nd of the series, his 10th of the year, and now the Cubs have a 5-1 lead. Two-run homers by Pagan and Ramirez have undone all the good that Vargas did over the first 5 innings.
Well, again, same pitch that Pagan hit. That ball down in the strike zone. And other than the last hit from Ramirez, elevated a little more for that home run. I think what happens is, talked about Guzman hitting the wall. It seems like Vargas has hit the wall here in the 6th inning. And it goes to show you, maybe, you know, you can cruise in the beginning part of the game, Gary, giving a lot of fly ball outs. here and there, and sometimes it's going to be the disguise that you're missing with your pitches up. The hitters are just missing it and popping it up, and those things can come back to haunt you as the game goes along and you get to the third and fourth at bats.
Well, this is the third time around the batting order, and the Cubs are 4 for 4 their third time around the batting order. Terrio with the infield hit, Pagan the 2-run homer, Soriano the base hit, and then Ramirez a 2-run homer. And Matt Merton takes ball 1. Merton is flied out and struck out.
See that pitch at home. That's the cutter that you need to throw against the right-handers. That ball is elevated. It's waist high. It's coming in on the hitter and jamming him. There's a difference. The one that's down and in, batter can just drop the head on it.
Little dribbler and a foul ball. One and 2 to Merton. Braves and Nationals finishing up their series in Washington. The Nats all of a sudden hot. They've won 5 out of 6. Old foul. $10 to anybody who can name the Nationals starting rotation right now. They've got John Patterson, Sean Hill, and Jerome Williams all on the disabled list. I can give you Matt Chico because he's pitching today. Jason Bergman, who was tremendous in his last start and has really pitched well.
How about Simon Tachi?
Jason Simon Tachi. Lavelle Spigner started last night, although you saw he got the win for the Nationals last night, just up from the minor leagues. Former Met #1 pick Billy Traber, who soft tossed his way to victory against the Mets last year.
When they drafted him, he wasn't a soft tosser, though, right? He hurt his elbow.
To center field. Chavez going back. Ball carrying well, but Indy runs it down for the second out. So 2 away. And now Mark DeRosa.
Well, we always talk about, Gary, those important innings. Mets drawn even. Vargas had to go back out there and put up a 0, wasn't able to do it as the Cubs get to him.
DeRosa is flied out and grounded out, 0 for 2. In the air to right, and Green has it to end the inning. But a very productive inning for the Cubs. 2-run homers, one off the bat of Angel Pagan and the other to just about the same spot off the bat of Aramis Ramirez. And now the Mets have to fight uphill, down 5-1.
For the Cubs, number 43, Michael.
Let's check out our New York Lottery Mets box score. Mets have put together 6 hits over the first 5 innings. Andy Chavez and Sean Green each with a pair. Ruben Gotay has driven in the only run for New York. And the Mets find themselves behind 5-1. Double switch for the Cubs. Darrell Ward comes in to play first base. He'll bat 9th. As Angel Guzman, in line for his first big league win, comes out of the game in favor of Michael Wirtz.
Well, he's in line for his first big league win, but he's really not going to have anything to do about it here in these last 4 innings. As Michael Wirtz on the pitch. Of course, he's the Michael Wirtz walked 3, including the walk to Delgado in that game on Monday night, sorry. The walk-off win.
Well, Leo Franco leads off against Wirtz in the home 6th inning. Chopped out to short, and Misturis handles it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Wirtz. Well, what do you think? Do you think Lou took Guzman out of the game because he's in line for a win and this is his best shot to get off the Schneider, or do you think it's because he fouled the ball off his toe?
Well, I would hope that he didn't ask out of the game, Angel Guzman, but I think, thinking about Lou, I think Wirtz has been his best relief pitcher. I think he had Wirtz up in that 5th inning and just decided to bring him in. And and not to try to get his club a win, try to get his club even in this series.
Guzman threw only 75 pitches before coming out as Newhand takes ball 1.
And we gave you the stats about how, you know, he doesn't get out of the 5th inning. Luz had to watch that firsthand.
Well, the Cubs bullpen has struggled, and the Mets have as good a bench as they've probably ever had in a major league game. So if they can, you know, maybe get a run closer here, they can utilize that bench in the last couple of innings.
Well, that's key. You don't have to get it all back now. Get one here, maybe a couple in the 8th, 7th, you know, just inch your way back.
You got Reyes and Beltran and Wright and LaDuca and Easley all on the bench today, with the Mets playing very much a day game after a night game lineup. There's a strike, 3-1 to Newhand. Newhand has one of the Mets' 6 hits. He singled to right in the 4th and stole his first base of the year, making just his 2nd start of the season, playing second base today. And on 3-1, he takes it high, ball 4. So Wirtz walking another one. Mets have a man on. We have an update from the studio. Baseball Day in New York with Chris Cotter.
Thanks, Gary. You mentioned the Nationals have been hot. Well, this might cool them down. Top of the 4th, no score, Chipper Jones. This ballpark doesn't give up many cheap home runs, and this is not one of them. The straightaway center is 11th of the year. The Braves lead 3-2, bottom 6.
I guess Chipper's not hurting anymore. Missed 4 or 5 days. His wrists were bothering him, but he's been back in for a couple of days.
So we'll get to see him within the week.
That's will be in Atlanta next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Castro's flied out and walked 0 for 1. Ramon making his 10th start of the season today. And the breaking ball popped up. Who wants it? Is Turris. 2 out.
Left fielder
Carlos Gomez and his batter very close.
He likes the smell of wood. I've seen that happen sometimes with players after they foul a ball off, because when you foul a ball off occasionally, it'll smell like fire.
I always like smelling the paper fresh out of the mimeograph machine.
Oh, that was a good one. The gasoline fan, to tell you the truth. The gas station.
See, that's not good. Gomez in the air to left center. Soriano started back, coming in, and has enough time to get there. A circuitous route for Soriano. Must be the eye black. Burgos on the pitch. Mets down 5-1. As the Mets continue the Subway Series with the Yankees this weekend, SNY continues its coverage with Nissan Postgame Live immediately following Saturday and Sunday's games, and it's only on Sportsnet New York. Henry Blanco leads off the 7th against Jason Vargas, who goes out there for another go-round after a very rough 6th inning, in which he allowed 2-run homers to Angel Pagan and Aramis Ramirez. Blanco pops it up. Delgado, 1 away. Well, let's look at our Panasonic Plasma replay. Panasonic for the speed of sports, and it was the former Met farmhand Angel Pagan getting his 2nd home run of the season. And snapped a 1-1 tie and gave the Cubs the lead. Panasonic for the speed of sports. Cesar Izturis is 0 for 2, a couple of fly ball outs. And that has been Vargas's stock in trade today. Fortunately for him, a couple of fly balls went a little too deep. In the air to left field, and Gomez is right there. And quickly there are 2 out. So nice bounce back for Vargas to get the first 2 easily. A big crowd on a Thursday afternoon at Shea. A lot of kids in the ballpark today. That means a big run on Mr. Met dolls.
They're looking for some offense right now.
Darrell Ward comes up for the first time, came out on a double switch in the last inning. Ward was actually in the original lineup for the Cubs today. It would have been a rare start for him against a lefty, but then DeRosa was declared well enough to play.
Those kind of day games, it's one of those where DeRosa gets worked on, he goes out and tests it, and he comes back and tells his manager he can play.
Ward has had just 3 at-bats against lefties this season. In fact, he had not started a game until this series with Derek Lee out, and then DeRosa getting hurt in the opener Monday. And Ward started the last 2 games, had a big hit on Tuesday night. Alternatives we talked about for why Guzman came out of the game. Was it the toe? Was it to try and get him a win? Was it because Wirtz was up? Nope, none of those are true.
Okay.
He left the game with hamstring cramps. Two to Ward. Newhand's got it, and he throws it away into the dugout, and that'll get Ward to second base. Routine ground ball, and he simply threw it away.
Second baseman, Ryan Terrio.
Well, kind of threw it when Carlos was not looking, wasn't kind of ready, but that was just, I mean, this is the major leagues. Got to be able to toss it from second to first.
That was ugly, and it keeps the inning alive for Ryan Terrio, who hits one in the air to center field, chasing Chavez back. So no harm, no foul, as Chavez, not aware of how many outs there were, nonetheless makes the catch to end the top of the 7th. 7th inning stretch time at Shea, and the Mets with some work to do, down by 4. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Mets down 5-1. Damian Easley will pinch hit for Jason Vargas, trying to get something started with the Mets with 9 outs to play with. Meanwhile, in D.C., the Nationals have just gone ahead of the Braves 4-3. Felipe Lopez with an RBI triple in the bottom of the 6th to put the Nats in front. Mets beginning play today a half game up on the Braves in the East. And Easley fouls one off. Easley with another home run last night, his 6th in just 63 at bats this season. He has been remarkable. Michael Wirtz pitching his 2nd inning of relief. Popped foul, and Ward watches it go into the seats, and it's 0-2 to Damian. One and two to Easley. Slowly hit. His Turris waits on it. And a close play at first, but he gets Easley by a stride, one away. Jose Reyes getting his first day off this season. And that takes us to our Dodge Ask the Booth question. If the batter is injured in the process of hitting a home run, can someone assist him around the bases, or is the home run nullified? Matthew? The answer is yes, he can be assisted. And the home run is not nullified. Lou Piniella has nullified Michael Wirtz. He's out of the game. And he'll go to the bullpen here with the top of the batting order coming up. Chavez will be the batter. And so the Cubs go to the left-hander and bring in Will Ullman. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home. Andy Chavez takes a strike from the new Cub pitcher, Will Ullman. Andy 2 for 3 on the day. He's stolen a base. He's scored a run. Getting the start in center field today with Beltran and just about everybody else getting a day off.
Will Ullman has been outstanding left-hand side for Lou Piniella so far this season. I know the high ERA, but he's gotten under gear. Batting average against only .225.
Look at that for lefties. 118. Struck out Sean Green on Monday night, the only man he faced. Michael Wirtz with a good outing for the Cubs. Went an inning and a third with no hits. Chavez fouls it away. See Henry Blanco with his glove almost on the ground there.
What he's trying to do is he's instructing the pitcher that I'm not going to give you a target, but I'm going to put the glove on the ground. I need this slider in the dirt. Cannot have a strike here. It's an 0-2 pitch. Got to have that slider in the dirt. That's what Blanco's telling his pitcher.
So that is a target.
In a way. In a way, it's letting the pitcher know that I cannot have a strike here. Most of the time catchers are sitting and presenting a target for you to throw to. That's a strike. This is a target for a non-strike. Got to have it in the dirt. Shake, shake, which means he's going to go to the fastball. That's what he's doing with pitchers. They do it all the time.
On the outside corner, strike 3 call. Chavez down for the second out.
Well, it's a good fastball. That is right on the corner. Hits Blanco right in the glove, and let's see the overhead. Yes, just splits that play. Perfect pitch from Will Ullman.
So 2 out in the home 7th, and now Ruben Gotay, who doubled in a run in the 5th, the only run the Mets have scored today, and he takes a strike. That came batting left-handed. Now turns around from the right side. He's had only 3 at-bats as a right-hand batter since he's been called up.
See Blanco's target, very traditional, nice low target. Gary Carter was always very difficult to throw to because he sat high on his haunches, so his target was really at belt level for the hitters. So for us pitchers, we would pick his shin guards. Right and left shin guard is where you would throw it to make sure you keep the ball down.
And Gotay down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Will Ullman as he comes out impressively here in the 7th. We played 7 at Shea, and the Cubs with a 5-1 lead. Eighth inning at Shea, and Ambiorix Burgos comes out of the bullpen.
Well, Burgos in his last out and gave up a run, but struck out 3 in 2 innings. See the right-handed hitters. 0-97 against Burgos with no extra base hits. 152 strikeouts and 154 innings pitched in his career. So strikeouts are not a problem. It's the walks and those base runners, that left-handers.
Angel Pagan has the biggest hit of the day. It was a home run. Now he tries to bunt, but Franco's right there to catch that pop-up. 1 pitch and 1 out for Burgos, and we go to the studio. A baseball day in New York update, and Chris Cotter.
All right, Gary, Yankees on the south side taking on the White Sox, bottom 3-1 on Matt DeSalvo facing Jermaine Dyan. He crushes this one to left field. A 2-run shot. He has all 3 RBIs. The White Sox up 3-0 in the top of the 4th.
Dye could be a candidate for most underrated player in baseball. He has been just great the last few years. And Soriano takes a strike.
And he plays both sides of the ball, plays excellent defense, got a good arm. He suffered a broken leg when he was with Oakland, and it set him back about 1.5 years, 2 years of his career.
I mean, when he was with Atlanta early in his career, he did not appear to be a guy who was going to be a star.
Yeah.
But he's turned into a star.
He's with Kansas City, and he had a big year there. Went to Oakland, had a big year, but then broke his leg, I believe, in the playoffs or right before the playoffs.
Fouled the ball off his leg.
Yes.
Right? 1-2 to Soriano.
We've got a couple of players. A former White Sox, Maglio Ordonez, who's a very underrated player also. Maybe not as underrated as Jermaine Dye, though.
Soriano 1 for 3, singled in the 6th, just his second hit in 15 at bats in this series. And this is a test for Burgos's numbers against right-hand hitters with Soriano and Ramirez. Burgos came back from 10 days in the minor leagues on Tuesday. And he gets Soriano swinging for the second out.
A good slider after the fastball away, just outside, slider back, and this is how you have to pitch. Soriano, he will swing off the plate. You just have to make sure you do not throw him a strike.
So 2 out, and here's Aramis Ramirez, who's had another big day. RBI single in the 4th, 2-run homer in the 6th. Driven in 3 runs in this game and 8 runs in the series. And he takes a slider for a strike. Well, Ramirez may look at times as though he really doesn't care and not always play the game at full throttle, but boy, can he hit.
Talented.
It's that one to the second baseman. New hand. Sure of the throw this time, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ambiorix Burgos. Mets come up in the bottom of the 8th, down 5-1. Mets will have 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Sean Green, Carlos Delgado, and Julio Franco due up. Sean has 2 of the Mets' 6 hits today, both hit to left field. Now facing the lefty Will Omen. Delgado to follow, and then Franco. Omen came on in the 7th, fanned both men he faced, and he's ahead on Green, 0-2. Well, there's Ryan Dempster, the Cubs closer. Think Lou would go to him in the 8th? I bet he would.
Yes.
There's Turris near the bag. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. Well, today is the first day off this season for Jose Reyes after tweaking his hamstring last night. He's fine. Some guys are just not meant to sit still. I mean, he is all over that dugout.
Gonna push him away.
Like a perpetual motion machine. As Delgado takes ball 1. Well, he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow night against Andy Pettitte and the Yankees. It'll be a little different atmosphere in the ballpark tomorrow too. And Reyes will be able to use all his energy in furtherance of the rivalry rather than driving his teammates crazy. Delgado 0 for 3 today. Key moment of this ball game came in the 5th. Mets had tied the game. They had 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and Delgado hit a comebacker into a double play.
It's just you know, he continues to struggle. The Mets don't like to use the S word, which is fine with them. I don't have any problem using the word slump, but at some point you're in mid-May, inching your way towards June, and Carlos is still struggling, and as he did last season at different times for a long period of time. It's always different when you start the season, I think, on a slump, because then you start to, you know, look at the remaining games, the days left to play. How am I going to catch up to the numbers that I always put on the board?
Struck him out. Fastball got by him, and that's the third strikeout for Will Omen. Well, I would submit that right now, rather than the S word slump, it's an S phrase, season-long slump.
Yes.
And that's the troubling part, that there hasn't been any time since the season began, and we're talking about 7 weeks now, when you felt as though Delgado was at all locked in.
Yeah, he's had at bats where he's looked locked in, but he hasn't had games really where he's looked locked in.
Franco takes ball one. Julio getting the start at third base today, and he has struck out twice and grounded out. Mets playing a B lineup today, and they've had B results, trailing 5-1 in the 8th. Jason Vargas pitched well in every inning but one, and that one has him on the short end at 5-1. Will David Wright get an at bat before this one's over? Will Reyes? Will Beltran? Or will they get the full day off? 1-2 to Franco.
Going back to Delgado, I think Willie Randolph always puts it perfectly as this fastball right by Franco. That it's not a good game or 4 hits that breaks you out of a slump. It's at bat or after at bat through a course of 4, 5, 6 games. That's when you know you're out of a slump.
Well, we saw that from Delgado during the postseason last year. When it mattered the most, he was locked in at the plate. And Franco goes down for the 3rd time today. That is 4 strikeouts in 5 batters for Will Omen. Quite a relief outing. On to the 9th, 5-1 Cubs. Let's check out your Toyota National League scoreboard. The Nationals going ahead on Felipe Lopez's triple in the 6th and maintaining the lead. Brewers and Phillies underway. Freddie Garcia and Ben Sheets. Brewers have lost 5 of 6 on their trip. D-backs and Rockies underway. As Matt Merton lifts one to right field. And Sean Green tracking it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Ambiorix Burgos in the 9th. Now Mike Fontenot will bat for the pitcher, Will Omen, who did quite a job in relief.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting for the Cubs. Number 17, Mike Fontenot.
Was it 4 strikeouts out of 5 outs?
It's a pretty good effort. Fontenot just called up the other day when Derek Lee and Mark DeRosa were unavailable to give them an extra man on the bench. And a fly ball to shallow left center, and Gomez gives way to Chavez for the 2nd out. So 2 pitches, 2 outs. In 2007, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and Sportsnet New York will make a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, please go to www.hopeandheroes.org. Henry Blanco with 2 out and nobody on. Burgos threw 10 pitches to get 5 outs.
Yeah.
Quick moving game today here at Shea. Not surprising after the 2 teams played well into the night last night. Ran that ball in on Blanco, and it's 1-1.
Good fastball. Just completely fools. That's the kind of movement that Burgos can have if he can just stay in that strike zone.
And here's the thing. That fastball that ran in on Blanco was 93.
Yeah.
And, it's like Billy Wagner was saying the other day. He said, I used to throw 96 to 98. But my best fastball is 93, 94 because it moves more.
It has that movement because it's free and easy. It's not muscling up to try to kill the radar gun. Radar guns do not bode well for people like Ambiorix Burgos.
Yeah, the slider in for a call, 3rd strike. Blanco down looking, and a very impressive 2 innings for Burgos. 6 up and 6 down. Ryan Dempster will try and close it out for the Cubs, 5-1.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mats and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling Mats.
Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire, a bit enthusiastic with his 3rd strike call.
That's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots right there.
He knocked his block off.
Yeah, luckily hit him in the back of the head, not that jaw of Ramon Castro. No chance there.
I'm just glad it was Castro, because if it was LaDuca, he might have swung back.
Exactly.
Ryan Dempster on to try and finish it off for the Cubs. Newhand's been aboard twice with a single and a walk. 1-1.
This is where you got to be very careful if you're hitting. You see Dempster. Good batting average against. You want to try. You need base runners here. Base runners more important than the individual hit.
But there's a base runner with a hit. So Newhand having a nice day with the bat. He came into the day with just 3 hits this season. He has 2 hits and a walk today. So the Mets get the leadoff man on here in the 9th inning. And Ramon Castro is 0 for 2 and a walk. So it does not look as though Willie is inclined to make full use of his bench here. He'll obviously at bat for the pitcher if his spot comes up, but you got Reyes and Beltran and Wright all available, and he is not touching any one of them right now.
They get a run across and some base runners out there, then the wheels will start turning. Then you got a chance to come back.
Gomez hitting 8th on deck. Breaking ball pulled foul, and it's 1-1 to Castro. Dempster has always been very successful against the Mets, going back to his days as a starter with Florida. You know, when they had that great young staff with Beckett and Burnett, it was Dempster who had the best numbers against the Mets. Newhand runs, and Castro lines it to right. That could be a double play. Newhand better hurry. Burton's throw to first base is dropped. Looked like he was going to beat it anyway, but Newhand really had to hustle to avoid being doubled off, which would have been awfully embarrassing in a 5-1 game.
That's a shame for Ramon Castro. That ball hit right on the line. Did not find a hole. One hopper by Merton. It would have been a double play if Ward would have kind of stretched out and caught that one, waited back on it. Oh no, it was in between hop, not his fault. Just trying to corral that ball in was Darrell Ward.
So here's Gomez, who's 0 for 2 and a hit batsman today, and he takes a strike. Just trying to get aboard to give the Mets a chance. Carlos Beltran has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. And the curveball let her high for a strike. 0-2.
See how the young Gomez with 0-2 count, 21-year-old, fights off, tries to stay in this at bat.
Wouldn't chase that one. It's 1-2. David Wright getting his first day off, as is Reyes. They'll both be back in there tomorrow with the Yankees coming in for the first of 3. Oliver Perez against Andy Pettit tomorrow night. Gomez lines a base hit, and the Mets are in business here in the 9th. Newhand going to 3rd, and he'll make it without a throw. So now the Mets need just one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate.
Oh, nice hitting, staying in this at bat by Gomez. Getting this high slider going the other way. Very impressive. The 21-year-old here in the 9th inning trying to stage a Met comeback.
So here is Beltran, who went 1 for 4 last night, hitting at .305 on the year. 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. If he can get aboard, then Chavez would come up as the tying run. And of course, you got plenty of other bats available in that dugout with Reyes and Wright. Behind Chavez is Gotay. Lou Pinella's got his closer out there in a non-save situation, trying to get a split of this series. Gomez runs. That'll be defensive indifference. That'll take the force off. But now it's 2-0 to Beltran, and that's what really matters, because a walk would bring the tying run to bat. As it is, ball 2 brings Lou Piniella out of the dugout.
Well, this is going to be not a strategic what we do with the ball. This is going to be a Lou Piniella. Throw some strikes. Got a lead. Don't get behind the hitters.
Well, earlier this season, and you look at Dempster shouting back at Lou. Earlier this season, it was considered a seminal moment for the Cubs when Lou went out to the mound in a similar spot and screamed at Dempster to throw strikes.
Well,
and really got the attention of his team.
He's ticked off right now because he's got a relief pitcher who's worrying about the mound and the state of the mound and worrying about facing Carlos Beltran.
2-0 to Carlos, and there's ball 3. So now Dempster is a pitch away from loading the bases for Endy Chavez. There's a strike, 3-1. Beltran in his career as a pinch hitter just 3 for 15. It's not many pinch hit at bats. Fouled away, and it's 3-2. This is Lou coming off the mound after talking to Dempster.
I don't know if he's talking to himself or Ryan Dempster has him talking to himself.
Big pitch coming up, 3-2 to Beltran. Ball 4, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate. And now Dempster's barking at the umpire, and he's getting a warning from Eric Cooper, who points out at him. So Dempster is all discombobulated now. First worrying about the mound, and now going after the umpire, who went right back at him.
Well, you're not going to get a call when your catcher's sitting outside and the ball is all across the strike zone. Overhead, it might look like it hits the corner. It doesn't. And Dempster and the umpire going at it. Eric Cooper has had a very good strike zone, I can say today. A very big strike zone, but very consistent.
So now Chavez is 2 for 4. And he takes ball 1.
You know, I will say, Gary, that Dempster's had success against the Mets, but for your closer, his body language has always been awful in these situations.
Gotay on deck. And there's a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1. Newhand got it started with a base hit. Gomez followed with a hit. A walk to Beltran. Bases loaded, 1 out. 5-1 ninth inning. Little dribbler, and it goes foul. And now it's 1-2 to Chavez. That's what Endy's done against Dempster. 3 for 4. Reyes and Wright both waiting in the well. Took it low, and it's 2-2. Scott Air is the left-hander. And Bobby Howry the right-hander. 2-2 to Chavez. Low, ball 3. And I think Lou's head may implode any moment.
I don't know. I think he's saying to himself, boy, I had a pretty good gig there at Fox TV.
3-2 to Chavez. Ball 4, and it forces in a run. Now it's 5-2, and the tying runs are on base. It's like deja vu all over again for Lou Piniella. How far does he go with Dempster now? Ruben Gotay is coming up. So Willie opting not to go to his bench right here with Wright or Reyes. He's going to stick with Gotay. Gotay 1 for 3, an RBI double today. Tying runs aboard with 1 out. And there's a strike. 0-1. And I'm a little bit surprised about this. Because you figured this would be the perfect spot to send Reyes up there. Pop foul, and now it's 0-2 to Gotay.
Is there any concern, you think, for a manager when you have arguably your most important player on the team who had a little tweak, says he's ready to go, but hasn't played all game. Now put him in a pressure situation. That could, you know, just don't want to take a chance that he's not loose enough.
And also in a situation where if you hit a ground ball, you really got to bust it to stay out of the double play that could end the game. Gotay just got the end of the bat on that to stay in.
0-2 pitch, though. Too good of a pitch from Dempster.
And maybe that makes you think that Reyes isn't 100% healthy, maybe 95%.
I think he wants to stay on his routine if he can.
0-2 to Gotay. Line drive, base hit. Gomez scores. Beltran stops at third. It's 5-3. And now the tying runs are in scoring position, and the potential winning run is on base.
Well, sometimes you have confidence in your players. You show that, and it is rewarded. A little slider in the outside part. Nice hitting by Gotay. Serving that ball to left field. Good base running by Beltran. Nowhere to go.
So Willie Randolph keeps the faith with his irregulars. He played his B lineup today. They were held in check for the first 8 innings. But now coming through against the Cubs closer here in the 9th, Dempster melting down. And how much further can he go? Lou Piniella checking the numbers to see matchups with Sean Green coming up next. He's got Ayer, the left-hander, and Green is just 2 for 22 against Ayer, so he's going to go right to him.
Ooh, major Rojo right here.
This will be interesting when he comes out to take the ball. No eye contact. So Scott Ayer will come on to try and bail out the Cubs. Mets have 2 home in the 9th, down 5-3 with the bases loaded. And Lou Piniella steaming. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Nissan and the next generation Nissan Altima. By Citi, let's get it done. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD?
Well, Scott Ayer, who started out with the nightmare start to the season, 8.10 ERA. Opponent's batting average is .327, 18 hits and 13 1/3 innings pitched, including a couple of home runs and 11 walks also in those innings.
Well, Willie's ready to make his move. With the lefty in the game, he'll take Green out and put up David Wright. This will be David Wright's first major league pinch hitting appearance. He's never done this before in the big leagues. And he's got a chance to do major damage here with the tying and potential winning runs on base. Mets have 2 home in the bottom of the 9th. They're down 5-3. And Ayer on to try and bail out Ryan Dempster. And Wright lines one into center field, a base hit. Into scores Beltran, stopping at third is Chavez. It's 5-4. Well, he may have never done it before, but that's what they tell you to do as a pinch hitter.
You're a great student of the game. You're right, Gary. When you go up there as a pinch hitter, you're looking fastball. If you get it, you make sure you put a swing on it. And right back up the middle. Hit so hard. Base runner at second base had the freeze. Wasn't sure if the great feeling is tourist could have made a diving play on that. Base to base. Delgado up in another big situation.
Mets are a base hit away from winning this game, trailing 5-4, 1 out, last of the 9th. Delgado, a tough day. He's gone 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts and a double play. And Ayer misses the outside corner. Ayer and Delgado were teammates in Toronto. And when he's faced him, Delgado's done well against him, 3 for 7. Chavez the tying run at third. Gotay the winning run at second. Grounded right side. Terrio can't get it. Base hit. Here comes Gotay to the plate. The throw by Merton. Not in time. The Mets win it.
day for the irregulars. It's the struggling big guy who comes through with the game-winning hit. A 5-run bottom of the ninth, and the Mets win it 6-5.
Well, Carlos Delgado almost gets undressed in that celebration, and sometimes you're struggling. What you need to do is just find a hole. Find a hole one time. And he does, just past Terrio. And Gotay with that good speed is able to beat that throw from Matt Merton in right field. Throw not even close. 2 pitches from air, 2 base hits. Game over.
A complete meltdown by the Chicago Cubs bullpen and a devastating loss for Lou Piniella and the Cubs. When it looked like they were on the verge of splitting this 4-game series, it gets away and the Mets pull off a huge 9th inning comeback. A 5-run bottom of the ninth, Delgado driving in the tying and winning runs, and the Mets take 3 out of 4 from the Cubs.
Just an amazing comeback to start or be able to sit your regulars down, most of your regulars down, and come back and have a guy who's been struggling all year. What a celebration. And come through. And, you know, was it hit that hard? No. You scoot it over another 10 feet, it's a double play ball. But when you're struggling, sometimes you need a little luck. You need to find a hole. And Delgado did.
Well, there were so many heroes in that inning between Chavez and Gotay and Wright and Delgado. And Kevin Burkhardt is standing by with one of today's heroes.
Well, I tell you guys, the Mets were so excited. They all flew into the clubhouse, so I was able to grab Ruben Gotay before he snuck in there. Before we talk about Carlos's hit, how about your at bat there? Did you think that Willie would let you hit there?
Actually, I got doubts. I mean, I saw the guy start warming up, but nothing. I mean, I didn't see enough movement, so I was okay. They're gonna let me hit it. I mean, it feels pretty good to get a base hit, get RBI, and get on base to David and Carlos.
What does that say, though, when your manager in a case like that, when he's got all of his regulars on the bench, sticks with you?
It's kind of confidence. I mean, appreciate that. I mean, he give me the confidence that I can get the job done. Thank God I did. And that's one part of it. The other part is, I mean, all the guys kept together, and Carlos and David came big.
Was there a point when you were on base, did you start to believe that you could win this game?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was hoping one of the guys get a base hit, and I was definitely going to score from first and second, and Carlos did it, score from second. That's what it matters right now.
How good do you feel for Delgado? I mean, he's guys obviously trying to find his stroke a little bit, and to come through like that, it seemed like you guys just jumped on him over there.
Feels good. I mean, he's been working hard, and I mean, he's a hell of a player, and that's all it matters. Came through, and I'm happy for him.
Joey, your time in New York so far, you having fun?
Yeah, too much. I'm having fun right now.
Ruben, thanks.
No problem. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, Gotay. I mean, that was an enormous hit. Willie stuck with him, and he proved to be a pretty good move. Let's go back up to you.
I think they're all having fun right about now.
Wow.
What an incredible comeback on a day when Willie ran out his B lineup. He rested virtually every regular. He kept Sean Green and Carlos Delgado in the lineup. He bats for Green in the ninth. Wright comes through in his first major league pinch hitting appearance. And then Delgado, the last regular left, gets the big hit to win the game.
Just amazing how he pushed those buttons late in the game. We talked about that they did start. The regulars sat on the bench, so they made the Mets have one of the strongest benches you could ever have, and it really came through. David Wright, of course, first pinch hitting appearance, gets the base hit up the middle, and Delgado just found the hole, and I think, you know, that was the key. Found the hole. Vargas did a nice job. He had one bad inning of coming up and getting the start. Carlos Gomez, after 0-2 against Dempster in that ninth inning, comes up with a big base hit. Gotay, confidence in him. He delivers an RBI hit.
And it looked almost incidental, but Ambiorix Burgos came out of the bullpen, retired 6 in a row, took him just 14 pitches. He winds up with his first win.
Yeah, going down and working on his stuff, and instead of going 3-2, 3-1 like he usually goes on hitters, he went right after him, and it proved successful. So just an amazing comeback for the Mets, and this flight from New York to Chicago just became, I don't know, 10 hours long for Lou Piniella and his team.
Well, the Cubs have to go into interleague play tomorrow afternoon against the White Sox on that sour note as the Mets win it 6-5 with a 5-run bottom of the ninth inning. Tonight on Geico Sports Night, reaction to the Mets' incredible comeback win, and we'll look at the other New York-Chicago series. The White Sox leading the Yankees in the 5th inning 4-0, and the Nets with their big win last night. All coming up tonight on the Geico Sports Night. By the way, we had our text poll earlier today. What did you think about sending Pelfrey down in favor of Vargas?
79% said good move.
Very good.
And Vargas, other than one bad inning today, certainly justified that. Went 7 innings, which was great for the Mets today. Saved the bullpen. Burgos winds up with the win when the Mets pull off the big comeback. Delgado with the game winner as the Mets win it 6-5. Tomorrow night, the Subway Series begins here at Shea, and we'll have all the action for you. Oliver Perez against Andy Pettit, 7 o'clock the game time tomorrow night here at Shea.